for the Vincent Thomas Bridge Deck Replacement Project. Before we begin the presentation, we'll begin with attendance. So when I call your name, please let us know the agency you represent. I'll start off with Nathan Bass.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Bass. I'm a public information officer with Caltrans District 7.
Thank you, Nathan. Up next, we have Andrew Ross.
Hi, everyone. Andrew Ross with LA County Public Works.
Thank you. Andy Chen.
Hello, everybody. This is Andy Chen from Caltrans Structural Construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Calvin Dong.
Hello, this is Calvin Dong from Caltrans Office of Mobility Programs.
Thank you. Carlos Calvillo.
Carlos Calvillo, Los Angeles City Fire Department, Operations South Bureau.
Thank you. Eleanor Torres. Eleanor. Okay, we'll keep going. Graham Christie.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Graham Christie, Chief Operating Officer with the Alameda Corridor.
Thank you. Kekoa.
Good afternoon, Keiko Anderson with Gateway Cities Council of Governments.
Thank you. Lieutenant Ryan Howley.
Hello, Lieutenant Howley, Port Police, Community Relations.
Thank you. Maria Orozco.
Good afternoon, Maria Orozco on behalf of Aaron Shields, California Air Resources Board, Diesel Enforcement Division.
Thank you. Michael Watson.
Mike Watson, Long Beach Harbor Patrol.
Thank you. Next we have Nish Krishnamurthy.
Nish Krishnamurthy, Air Quality Specialist at South Coast Air Quality Management District.
Thank you. Rajiv Sitaram.
Hi, good afternoon. Rajiv Sitaram with the Port of Long Beach.
Thank you. Up next, we have Ray Regalado.
Ray Regalado, Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council.
Thank you, Ray. Up next, we have Robert Loya.
Thank you. It's Robert Loya, Harbor Trucking Association.
Thank you. Roberto Perez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Roberto Perez, Government Affairs Liaison, Caltrans District 7.
Thank you. Saeed Rutsari.
Hello, everyone. Saeed Rutsari, City of Long Beach.
Thank you, Saeed. Up next, we have Salvador Madrigal.
Good afternoon. Salvador Madrigal with Port of Long Beach.
Thank you. Scott Hawkins.
Good afternoon. CHP Lieutenant Scott Hawkins, South Los Angeles area.
Thank you. Sean Kearns.
Good afternoon. Sean Kearns, Office of Congresswoman Nanette Barragan.
Thank you. And up next, we have Sergeant Andrew Sklarsh.
Good afternoon, Andrew Sklarsh, LA Port Police Traffic Unit. Diane, I'm in another meeting at the same time, so if you call on me and I don't hear you, just yell at me. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Up next, we have Sumay Tan.
Good afternoon, Sumay Tan, Caltrans Office of Mobility Programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumay. Rima Tebaleva.
Good afternoon, Rima Tebaleva, Caltrans Project Manager for this project.
Thank you. I see that Alice Tyree left her name in the chat, so thank you, Alice. Jin Rong Wang.
Jin Rong Wang, Caltrans Bridge Design South.
Thank you. Jeffrey Yu.
Jeffrey Yu with Caltrans PPM.
Thank you. Ken Young.
Good afternoon, Ken Young, Caltrans Office of District Traffic Manager.
Thank you, Ken. That's everybody on the list, but I know other folks joined. Eric Morgan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Diane. Eric Morgan, City of Los Angeles Emergency Management Department.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Quan Tran. Quan Tran, can you hear us? Okay, we'll keep going. Mia Hernandez Perez.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mia from the Office of Senator Lena Gonzalez.
Thank you. Dr. Crystal Rule Chen.
Afternoon, everybody. Crystal Rule Chen, Community Liaison to Wilmington, Carson West, Long Beach for enforcement for CARB. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else that I missed? Okay, I can go ahead and get started on the presentation. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and let me do the full screen. There we go. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining us on our 29th Technical Advisory Committee meeting for the Vincent Thomas Bridge Deck Replacement Project. For today's agenda, we'll be going over the prior TAC meeting action items, the December 3rd CAC meeting overview. For the presentation, we'll talk about our community open house meetings that were postponed, project schedule, construction, our traffic management plan subcommittee, our area projects coordination map and schedules, and open discussion. So for the previous meeting action items, we uploaded our meeting minutes, written recording, and presentation to our Vincent Thomas Bridge project website, so that's available to view now. For the prior CAC meeting, we had it on December 3rd, where we went over the CAC meeting action items from the previous CAC meeting, the November 18th TAC meeting overview. For presentation items, we discussed some recent closures of the Vincent Thomas Bridge, the project schedule, a recap of the October 29th Goods Movement stakeholder meeting, our project coordination map, and we discussed the location of an upcoming Vincent Thomas Bridge construction field office. And so for our first item, I know originally we had sent out a press release and regarding some community open houses, 3 to be specific. If you haven't seen our most recent press release, we actually had to postpone those meetings, and we are currently working on finalizing the new dates. So once that's ready, we'll send out another press release and post our social media updates. So stay tuned for that. But we still plan on having one in Wilmington, San Pedro, and a virtual one. And we're coordinating with different community groups to make sure that the meetings do not overlap. So thank you for your patience with that. And now I'll pass it on to Rima for a project schedule update. Rima?
Yeah, thank you, Diana. So we have completed design in November. We signed the construction contract with our amazing contractor, Skanska CEC joint venture, earlier this month, and currently reviewing technical submittals from contractor and waiting for the updated schedule. Construction phase, so the construction phase started already, but the field work will not begin until early March 2026, which will be a pre-full closure work. So pre-full closure work is scheduled again for early March, and it will be completed in fall of 2026. The 16 months full closure will begin on November 1st, 2026 and end in winter 27-28. And the post-full closure phase will begin in winter 27-28 and will be completed in winter 28-29. And now Andy will tell you in details about the schedule and construction activities. Andy?
All right, thank you, Rima. This is Andy Chan from Structural Construction Caltrans. Before I start, can everybody hear me fine? Thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, thank you. All right, for the next few slides, I'm going to talk about what are we going to do during the construction, such as how many stages, means and methods, and concept. All right, so there will be 3 stages during the construction. The first one is a pre-full closure stage. Second one is a full closure stage. And third one will be the post-full closure stage. So for the pre-full closure stage, it will start from spring 2026 to fall 2026, as the slide shows. So we actually started now. And it will have overnight one directional closure to begin in spring 2026. We haven't started yet. Most likely we'll start in March this year. And as for the closure, it will be from Monday to Friday, and it's only one direction per night. For the westbound, we will close the bridge at 10:45 p.m. and open at 6:45 a.m. For if we close the eastbound, it will be closed at 10:15 p.m. to 6:45 a.m. And of course, we're gonna work during the daytime, but the daytime work does not require closure. So during the pre-foreclosure, we only have a night closure. And potentially we will have weekend closures. And of course, during this period, we will resurface the detour route during the late spring to summer 2026. All right, next slide, please. So this is the second stage of the construction, which is a foreclosure stage. It will start from fall 2026 to winter 2027, 2028. It will be 16 months. It will be foreclosure, which means that the bridge will be completely closed day and night. And we will work 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. And this is the stage that we actually start doing the deck replacement, which means that we're gonna remove the deck and replace it with the new precast panel deck. Next slide, please. And the last stage will be the post-foreclosure stage. It will start from winter 2027, 2028, right after the foreclosure, to winter 2028, 2029. It will take about 12 months. And during this stage, we will be doing some minor works such as the utilities and some punchline works. And during this stage, we will also need an overnight closure, every one directional closure every day. And again, the same closure time. For the westbound, it will be 10:45 p.m. to morning 6:45 a.m. And for the eastbound, it will be 10:15 p.m. to 6:45 a.m. And of course, there will be potential weekend closures. But during this stage, all the works are very minor and shouldn't be impacted much. Next slide, please. So that was the 3 stages. Now we're gonna talk about what are we going to do during those 3 stages. For the pre-foreclosure construction, of course, those will be for the preparation work. We're not gonna just go on the bridge and start breaking the deck. There's a lot of preparation works needs to be done. And for example, we are going to install the temporary elevator, 2 of them, and also stair towers, 2 of them at the bridge. Those are, of course, for the access, and also a lot of construction has 4 crews working at the same time. And second, we're gonna install the temporary protective cover, protective shielding. The main purpose is to protect the local residents and also a business underneath the bridge during the construction. And we are going to install the temporary access platform, which allow the worker has immediate access underneath the bridge to do their work. And we're gonna install the temporary bracing on the approaches and also suspension spans to ensure the stability of the bridge during the construction. And of course, during this stage, we're gonna resurface the detour routes. All right, next slide, please. So here's a picture of the temporary elevator that I mentioned earlier. This one was installed in 2011, and this time we're gonna install the same one and 2 of them. And they will be at the band 9 and band 14 on each side of the Cerritos channels. And these elevators are very essential for the work because they not only provide the access to the bridge, but also give us the space on the bridge. We all know that the Vincent Thomas Bridge is a very narrow bridge. We need all the space that we can get. So with those elevators, the workers can park their truck on the ground level and use the elevator to the deck so that we can free up a lot of space for the work and make the work much more efficient. Next slide, please. And another way to maximize the space on the deck is to utilize the gantry crane. As we all know that the conventional crane is not gonna take up a lot of space. But as you can see on the right-hand side of the presentation, that's an example of the gantry crane. With the gantry crane, we can also free up a lot of space on the deck to ensure much more efficient work during the construction. Next slide, please. And here's a picture of the temporary platform that I was talking about earlier. It's a quick deck, and this time we are going to use the same system for the bridge, but this time we're gonna cover the entire bridge with those decks. And the concept is that during the pre-foreclosure during the pre-foreclosure stage and during the night closure, the contractor is going to assemble those platforms on top of the bridge deck. And once they reach a certain area, certain amount, we will lower the platform by the crane and hand them underneath the bridge. So this time we are going to use the same exact system as shown in the picture here. Next slide, please. And here's the temporary bracing I was talking about earlier. Those bracing, we are going to have a temporary bracing on every bench to ensure the stability of the bridge during the demolition and also the deck replacement. Next slide, please. So those were the work that we're going to do during the pre-foreclosure stage. Now I'm going to the foreclosure construction. And during the foreclosure, of course, this is the actual deck replacement happen. During this stage, we are going to replace the bridge deck. We're gonna reconstruct the bridge railing. We are going to reconstruct the median barrier. We are going to reconstruct the drainage. We're going to replace the seismic sensors, and we're also going to reconstruct the overhead signs. Next slide, please. So for the next few slides, I'm just gonna talk about what's the sequence. How are we going to remove and replace those decks? All right, so for the next few slides, blue means that something we're gonna put in. Red means it's something that we're gonna take out during the stage. So we're gonna start from the eastbound first. Step number one, we are going to install the gantry rail brackets on the side of the bridge. Second, we are going to install the gantry rail. And third, we're gonna start remove the existing rail on the side of the eastbound. And we are going to remove the existing curb on eastbound too. And then we're going to remove the existing median barrier in the middle of the bridge. And then we are going to install the K-rail to separate the eastbound and westbound. And the eastbound now will become the construction zone, and westbound will become the access zone. Next slide, please. So the next step is we are going to start cut the deck. We are not going to use a breaker to break the deck. We're gonna cut it and pick them up one by one with a gantry crane and load it on top of the truck and ship them out. Next slide, please. So once the deck is removed, and then same thing, we're gonna use the gantry crane to start place the precast panel deck onto the bridge one by one, just as shown in the plan in a drawing here. Next slide, please. So once all the deck is placed, then we have the new deck on the eastbound and the existing deck on the westbound, and the westbound will become our next stage. Next slide, please. So for the next stage for the westbound, it's gonna follow the exact same step as the eastbound. We're going to remove the rail, remove the curb, and install the carrier to separate the eastbound and westbound. And now the eastbound will be the access zone and the westbound will be the construction zone. And we're going to cut the westbound existing deck one by one and pick them out one by one by the gantry crane and ship it out by the truck. And also once it's done, we're gonna place the precast panel deck one by one onto the westbound. So the step is exactly the same as eastbound. Next slide, please. So in the end, we will have new deck on the both direction. Next slide, please. So that was the work and sequence for the foreclosure. Now we're gonna talk about the post-foreclosure construction. What are we going to do during the post-foreclosure? There are two types of work. One is permanent work, one is temporary work. For the permanent work, we are going to install the permanent under-deck utility supports, hand the utilities on the permanent supports, and also install the new drainage system at the seismic joints. That is for the permanent work. And as for the temporary work, remember we installed a lot of stuff during the pre-foreclosure stage. We're gonna use this stage to remove them, such as the access platform that we install in the pre-foreclosure stage, such as the protective shielding that we install in the pre-foreclosure stage, and also the work elevators and those temporary bracings. So those are the work that we are going to do during the post-foreclosure stage. All right, next slide, please. So this will conclude my presentation today, and I will pass the microphone back to Diana. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Does anybody have questions for Andy before we continue? Okay.
Hey, Diana, this is Sergeant Squash. I thought I raised my hand, but maybe it didn't work. I just have a quick question. I know in the beginning, We talked about the temporary elevators and then having some type of security cage around that, especially on the Catalina terminal side or on the west side, to prevent those entering the elevator that don't belong there. Is that still something that's in the plans?
Andy, is that part of the
Are you
plan?
talking about that we gonna have some kind of security gate to prevent
Yes.
people get on the elevator?
Yes, because when we talked about in the beginning on the east side, which is inside Everport, it's not that much of a concern because obviously it's a container terminal and you have to get in the terminal. But on the west side where the Catalina terminal is, we talked about having some type of security cage around the base of the elevator to prevent anyone from entering that doesn't belong there.
Right. So I'm not sure about if it's gonna be the security cage, but we definitely will have some kind of security measure to prevent people to get on there.
Okay, thank you. You know, maybe I can add, we discussed it with contractors, so these elevators will, if they will be installed, they will be operated by using the cart. So nobody will be able to use it without the cart. And yes, they're going to have some sort of fence around it.
Yeah, as long as there's some type of a security measure because it's an open parking lot and an open terminal for access. And that's just one of the things we don't want to happen.
Just as a comment, as per OPCC 3, we're not anticipated to having elevators anymore.
All right, thank you, Tony. Thank you. We'll make adjustments to our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it on to Kenya so he can go over the traffic management plan subcommittee. Ken?
Thanks, Dana. Next slide. In terms of traffic control officers and the next slide, which is CCTV cameras, there have been no changes. We have 18 locations for traffic control officers. They are prioritized along the detour. And amongst those locations, 5 and 6 are probably the most essential ones along Anaheim Street, Anaheim at Alameda, Anaheim at Henry Ford. That's what we have at this time. There has been some feedback from the Port of Long Beach in regard to traffic control officers and CCTVs and detours. So we will have those discussions with them on January 30th. And so with the goal of aligning our visions and doing what's best for this project. Next slide, please. As noted, we have 18 locations for CCTV, oh, sorry, 20 locations for CCTV cameras. We in addition to these, or most recently, we've added locations along the Alameda corridor. We've repositioned locations along the Anaheim Street corridor. We've added a location on the PCH corridor. So beyond the detour itself, we'll have great visibility along the Alameda, Anaheim, and PCH corridors in the absence of any traffic control officers, which again will be determined as we continue to have discussions with the Port of Long Beach next week. And above and beyond this, we are working on enhancing the Quick Map application. The project has 2 phases. The first phase is the user interface phase, which is basically to make Quick Maps itself, the software itself, more dynamic, more usable. So far, we've been meeting with our IT headquarters team bi-weekly, and we've seen a lot of progress. We're nearing the completion of phase 1 of that user interface, and we'll have user testing soon. So we will be reaching out to the stakeholders to participate in that testing. And then once that's complete, then we'll have phase 2, which is more specific to the Vincent Thomas Bridge enhancements in terms of the detour itself, notifications, cameras, incident management, and the like, of which we're scheduled to have that complete by mid-June. So by all accounts, we're making a lot of progress. We're on schedule, and we're going to integrate the stakeholders in this process shortly in terms of testing. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ken.
And the next, I'm sorry, and the next meeting for the TMP subcommittee will be on the 27th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Up next, I'll pass it on to Sume Tan to go over our area projects coordination map and schedule. Sume?
Yeah, thank you, Diana. Next slide, please. So I have updated the table and the map a little bit since the last meeting. I think a couple of the Caltrans projects were completed, such as the Union Pacific debt replacement project and the Terminal Island Freeway pavement projects. So those were completed. So we removed them from the tracking list. And we also want to thank the partner agencies for provided update to us in the last couple of weeks, particularly I think Port of LA. I think the project at SR 47 and Harbor Boulevard Interchange project was also completed. I think that's project C. And I think those are the only updates we received in the last couple of weeks. If anybody has more updates or additional information to share with us, that will be great, especially City of Long Beach project UVWX. Those are not along the detour routes, but they are in the vicinity of Vincent Thomas Bridge. So if the city has more information as to closure or schedule update, please share with us. But as you can see from the list, we are making actually good process in coordination. We have eliminated projects that will have direct, conflict in schedule or along the detour route. So we'll continue to coordinate closely with the agencies, especially for project number E, I think. Yeah, the Seaside Avenue Navy Way Interchange project. That one schedule will be in conflict with Vincent Thomas Bridge full closure. But at this point, we do not anticipate any major impact on the detour and traffic, but we'll continue to work with Pola on that. And I think that's all I have. If anybody has questions or updates, please share. If not, Diana, that's the wrap for me.
Thank you, Sume. Okay, so we've reached the end of our presentation. We're made it to open discussion. So if you have any questions or comments, please, it's the time to ask. So does anybody have any questions? I see Ray's hand. Ray?
Yeah, thank you. One thing that I have gotten some feedback from community, although there's a lot of community or not much community around the bridge construction, but those people who feel that they are close, will there be any sizable or measurable noise coming from any part of the construction? I don't think we've ever really focused on that and how we're going to be able to measure that.
Rima, do we expect there to be noise during the construction? Or Andy?
Yeah, we should have some noise when we remove the slabs. We're gonna have to use jackhammers also. So this will be probably a source of noise. But the the nearest locations like residential probably they're kind of far away. From really hearing those noise, and we still have noise specs in the contract that the contractor will have to abide by. So
Sorry.
If I could, just for clarity, I understand that there are noise measurements that I think will probably be taken during the course of the project. Will there also be an opportunity or a mechanism for community to, if there is a concern, call and maybe get some kind of, have an opportunity to discuss this or talk about this should they feel that there is measurable noise?
Yeah, you can reach out to us through our email, or you can give us a call, and we can discuss.
Hey, this is Andy Chen from Caltrans. There shouldn't be that much noise on the bridge because the work we're doing there It's pretty much similar to all the work we've done before. We are not going to drive piles. Yeah, if we drive piles, then yes, there will be a concern. But the work we're doing up there right now, like I say, we're not gonna use the breaker to brutally break those decks. We're gonna cut them. So the noise will be very minimal. There will be some, but we're very minimal. And especially we're not driving pile for this project. So it shouldn't be that much concern. But of course, if anybody has concern, always reach out to Diana, right?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Carrie, did you have another question? I see the one in the chat about the meeting invite, and Ken will send that
Yeah,
over.
and additionally, a couple of things. So, Ken, on the detour routes we discussed a few times on Anaheim Street, east of Henry Ford Avenue, and directed traffic that way for southbound Henry Ford using the Terminal 11 freeway, which would be better suited. Now, that's ideal for anyone going eastbound and wanted to make a southbound Henry Ford Avenue because they don't have the visibility of queues until they actually turn, in which case then they're stuck. So I'd highly recommend for any eastbound traffic that wants to go south, the detour is continuing on eastbound Anaheim. Traffic coming on Alameda, Henry Ford, southbound, presumably they can see they'll see the queues as well as rail crossings such that they might try and make the left turn, southbound left to Anaheim, then go to Terminal 11 freeway. But I think that should be identified as a route, especially on your quick maps, alternative routes. And the TCO should be obviously aware of that when they're out there. Hopefully they'll be out there at key times to direct traffic accordingly when there are queues southbound.
So, Kerry, you mean they go eastbound to what? To I Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, northbound traffic, hopefully they'll take the TI freeway and get off of at Sepulveda up until the time when I guess Carson is presumably got that bridge closed. I don't know if they're behind schedule or on schedule on that project. That's something you'll have to consider and map out on your website as well, because when it is open, I think that's a preferred route as opposed to getting off on Henry Ford Avenue and going north and then north on Alameda Street. So.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. I think we have some general concurrence with regards to Anaheim, an alternative extending from there in lieu of the use of Henry Ford. So we're in agreement there.
Okay. I guess the the proof will be in, I guess, how you sign it, right, for eastbound traffic when you show the detour signs.
Yeah. Our plan, before we had more recent discussions was to put we could utilize portable changeable message or static signs to designate that detour from Anaheim to I Street to 103 for southbound traffic.
Okay. Do you have a schedule of the pavement rehab yet? And the locations? Has that been laid out yet by the contractor?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Pardon me?
Not yet, Kerry, but most likely it's gonna be like late spring, early to midsummer. When we're gonna start the pavement. So.
You mean this coming spring?
Yes.
Okay.
We are actually we have the spring weather anyway, but it's not spring yet. So
Okay. And then also, we've almost completed, for the most part, the improvements on Front Street, from the off ramps at Harbor to Pacific, and we're going to have a lot of traffic, getting off on Channel Street and Harry Bridges Boulevard, and not only poor traffic, but traffic just avoiding that area And wanted to know, or maybe I can talk about the TMP, about the restriping, temporary restriping of Pacific in front to allow for, I guess it's sort of quasi southbound lefts, dual lefts at that location. Because you're going to have a lot of traffic probably that's going to could be getting off there to avoiding this area that would otherwise take a different route because of congestion on other routes, avoiding coming across the bridge. So I think it's something that if we could talk about further, and maybe that's a possibility, work with the LDOT.
Okay, thank you, Harry. I see Rajiv's hand is up. Rajiv?
Okay, thanks, Dan. So yeah, Kerry, just wanted to add whatever you just mentioned about the detours on the Anaheim and I Street. That's one of the things that we will be discussing with Caltrans on the 29th of this month. The meeting that's going to happen between the Port of Long Beach and Caltrans, along with some of the detours that we think that might be a possible approach. So we'll stay tuned on that.
Thank you, Rajiv. Eric Morgan, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Diane. My question's about the overhead work and if there are any possible impacts to waterborne traffic below. I know with my point of reference is when the Gerald Desmond Bridge work was ongoing, they monitor a marine channel and then stop work when vessel traffic passes underneath. And I was wondering if that's within the scope of this group or more Coast Guard.
Osama, I believe you you
And
responded
sorry,
to that.
you did the question quite well. Would you please repeat?
Oh yeah, it's specifically when
This is Andy Chan. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
we have some kind of measurement to prevent the impact to the waterway. We work with the Coast Guard. We have the permit. We have the minimum occurrence requirement, and we're gonna comply with those minimum occurrence requirement so that we don't impact the waterway.
Yeah, the air gap. Okay, the air
Thank you.
gap. Okay, the air gap sensor will remain in operation all the time, and we are in communication with the Coast Guard, and we have a notice of reduction in the air gap by 2.5 feet. And the Coast Guard basically passed it through all the mariners who usually traverse this area, and we should be covered with that. So
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Very good. Appreciate the answer.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Osama and Andy. Are there any more questions or comments? Yes, Ray?
I'm wondering if there's a possibility that I could have a conversation with Caltrans from a community level, given the challenges we had with your last set of community meetings and our attempt to try to talk to someone who was going to navigate not having conflicts with other community efforts that are going on. I'd like to have that. I don't think it's appropriate to have it on this forum, but definitely I would like to have that opportunity to discuss and see how we can avoid what happened with your last set of community meetings.
Yeah, we'll make that an action item so we can set a meeting aside with you, Ray, and discuss dates. Thank you.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about not necessarily on top of dates, about the ability to convey concerns and they not go ignored or not taking its rightful need for attention, quick attention. So I kind of want to make this a little bit more comprehensive in that respect.
Okay, we can set up a separate meeting for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Eric, I think do you have another question, Eric Morgan?
No, thank you, Diane. I put my hand down.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and finish the presentation. So for action items, we will, as always, upload the minutes, presentation, recording of this meeting to our Vincent Thomas Bridge website. Ken will send out the TMP subcommittee meeting invite for next week, and we will set up a meeting with Ray to go over dates and any concerns moving forward. So our next TAC meeting will be on February 17th at 2 p.m. If you have any questions before then, you can always reach out to us at our VTB email or reach out to Nathan and I. You can also go to our website and review all our older meetings and meeting materials as well. So again, if you have any questions moving forward, please feel free to reach out to us. And that concludes our 29th Technical Advisory Committee meeting. Thank you so much for joining us and Happy New Year. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.